Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia. This is the summary for day 21. 21. This time now I put the day here so that it's easier for me to remember which day it is. And 16th of March, which is yesterday. Summary of what had happened. So we start off with Belarus again. Let's start out with Belarus again. There is multiple explosion heard, around multiple cities, around the area of Brest, and then people were speculating something happened. So apparently, it's actually just artillery and missile exercises in Belarus, where you can see this very epic photo of a very brave man firing his cannon or something. So so the exercise will go from 16 to 29. So we are gonna expect like a lot of people hearing a lot of explosion around this area. So yeah, I just want to talk about this in case people like for you guys, when you're on social media, you might see something about explosion in Belarus or in Brest region. This is what it is. Okay, going to Kiev. No updates here. No updates in Sumy area as well. Chernihiv, they are all still blockaded, including Pryluki, Konotok, Nizhyn, Sumy. They are all blockaded, as well as Nohorod Sevinsky. So no changes in the border as well. Otroika is still kind of gotten left alone in a way. I'm not sure if there's a link between these two. So in terms of Kharkiv, there's also no changes in the situation. No changes in this Kupiansk area, or previously there was supposedly fighting at Husarivka, but nothing is heard of it anymore. I'm not even sure if anyone is fighting over there. But I'm just gonna leave it there just in case. So in terms of the overall picture, just in case, I have kind of close up this entire area for like already 2-3 days. I didn't talk about it. Basically because because the white front around here has effectively closed. The Russian and Donetsk forces have captured enough land for me to confidently determine that all the ground that was previously not checked within the Russian occupied area, I shall now put it as under occupied, because there isn't any possibility for there to be a strong Ukrainian presence within this area anymore. So I close it up all up. So there might be still Ukrainian soldiers wandering around. That is always a possibility, just like there could be Russian elements within all these lands, reconnaissance and whatever. So but in terms of major presence, no more. So the Russians have already cleared up and squeezing them in towards the center. So let's continue to Izium plus. So Izium plus and plus. So there is no conclusion into what happened to the battle at Yaremivka and Studenok. However, there is some chatters about Russian forces in Kyamka. There's no indication they have like fully captured it. They didn't really mention anything about it. But in terms of my analysis, I feel that it makes sense that they would do some entrenchment. They will actually put some kind of roadblock and some defenses around here, the northern part. They might also do some southern part one, but I don't really think they would. Maybe more towards the northern part, because there are still Ukrainian elements in the south of Izium. They are still fighting in the peripheral of Izium, mainly around. They're hiding within the forest and in the southern part. but the Russians forces basically just ignore them. They just travel through down the road because they are going through some kind of a blitzkrieg of sort. So they are ignoring the entire remaining Ukrainian forces that are hiding around here. Resupply will be nearly impossible for the Ukrainians here, so they're gonna fight as long as they can. Once their ammo is gone, not enough food. I don't think water will be an issue because there's a forest, there's river nearby, but food will be a problem. Then maybe they will disperse. They will change into civilian clothes and try to just melt away. Once they feel that it's not possible. I don't think there will be. I'm not sure if there's any those extremists or hardcore troops around here, but the troops around here, the Ukrainian forces are very effective. They are actually proper, well-trained soldiers. If you have watched my update about Izium, I think it's Izium plus plus. I actually told a war story from a Russian perspective of the battle for Izium. So in that story, the Russian soldier actually praised the Ukrainian for very accurate artillery fire. So you can actually go and listen about that. That is actually an interesting story. So and then we remember this one. The fighting allegedly in the east of Bavinkov, which is this town here. And somehow we have a new chapter. It's actually a one-liner. There is a fierce battle in the area of Gusarovka. So in Ukrainian, it's actually Husarivka. It's not too sure whether this fighting here is actually by the same force that was at Bavinkov, or is it actually a totally new detachment that actually came to reinforce this area to fight in a bigger front. Is unclear. But what is clear is that because of the fighting, the entire route on the northern side to resupply Slovians is now under threat, because for any resupply to come from Poltava or Dnipro, they will have to go through this road up. This is the main road up to Izium going down, and because the Russians are now at Kyamka, it is no longer possible to use the northern road. They'll probably use this smaller road through Lozova as well, and then go through Bavinkov. But because we have these one-liner reports about fighting at Bavinkov as well as at Husarivka, this road is now compromised. So the resupply route to Slovians is now only coming from the south through Kramatorsk. So there is no more. I don't think there's any more roads. Yeah, there's no more roads that can lead to Sloviansk without securing Bavinkov and Husarivka. So the only way is through Kramatorsk. And while we are at this, there is a chatter from the Russian sources that the Ukrainians is now gathering a force at Pavlograd to go on a counter-offensive. So they are actually gathering the forces around here. According to the Russian source, they say that this counter-offensive is going to be rather similar to the one that came from Dnipro region, that counter-attack around Kharkiv region, where they eventually took Chuhuiv, a failed attack at Balaklia, but however they actually controlled this region at Andriivka and Slobozhanske, as well as they take the Hachi. So this is the major counter-offensive. The last one that we saw that from the Ukrainians that had some limited success, kind of secured Kharkiv a little bit more, especially from the south and from the east. That doesn't change the fact that he's still surrounded mostly around to the north. But this force is likely to counter-attack in the Izium. I believe that it's going to be counter-attacking at Izium. However, the road is mined by themselves. So this is going to cause some traveling problem for themselves, because they have mined the road at certain parts. hopefully they remember that they mind the road and not run over their own mine. So at Kramatorsk, there's a chatter from the Ukrainian sources that not sure it's actually Ukrainian or is it a fake Russian or a fake Ukrainian, but they actually talked about the lack of fuel and ammunition within for the troops within the joint forces operation. So basically what I call the East Army, and they say that they do not have enough fuel and ammunition to actually do a withdrawal from the Donbas area. So the retreat, so according to this chatter, they say that the retreat was proposed by the command of the US Army in Europe. They said that by retreating from this region, they can actually form a new defense line around Dnipro and the Dnieper River. So probably, and also reinforce Kharkiv and kind of thing. So yes, and Kharkiv to kind of reinforce the fighting around this area. However, I have already mentioned, probably at least for a week now, that they are unlikely to be able to retreat, because any retreat from the East Front without air superiority will be disastrous. It's going to be like the highway of death in Iraq, where it will just be a turkey shoot. And given the amount of destruction by the Russian Air Force on the entire supply line as well as storage facilities in Ukraine, it is unlikely that they're going to have enough fuel to actually even have the transport to transport all the troops back towards a new defense line further towards the center of Ukraine. And this prediction that the Russians would actually take the roads to prevent resupply, and how the Russians are hitting all the supply depot, the oil depot, the fuel depot, the military facilities to weaken the resupply situation is coming true. So the East Army is now running low on ammo, especially given how hard they are fighting all the while, as well as running low on fuel, which was previously rumored around Bakhmut area. Now this is from Kramatorsk area. So this looks like this fuel and ammunition problem is likely to be true, and is likely to exacerbate to a much bigger problem. And without fuel and without enough ammo, it will be nearly impossible to do a defensive retreat. And without air cover, that will be extremely dangerous to leave this entire front line. Without mechanized and or truck or vehicles, their retreat will be so slow that they will actually be caught up by advancing Russian forces. So it's actually worse than staying and fight. In the battle of Severodonetsk, Rubizhne actually has the Ukrainian forces at the Rubizhne has all been driven towards the south, as the Russian forces captured most of the northern part, and on the Severodonetsk side of the fight, the fighting is reported by the Ministry of Defense to be on the east, northeast, and northwest, which means that if it's northwest, means that the Donetsk forces the Luhansk forces have already infiltrated through this forest area and attack from this northwest region, which also means that the Ukrainian forces at the Rubizhne will not be able to retreat into Severodonetsk without meeting enemies. So the only way out for them is through this bridge, and they are likely to blow it up after they crossed it, to prevent any Russian forces or Donetsk forces from accessing and crossing this area down to Lysychansk. In terms of Severodonetsk, they are now attacked from 3 fronts, and it's going to be a hard fight. This is a rather big city, anyway. So the only news is that they are already fighting in 3 different fronts. So the east, northwest, and northeast. Further down, in terms of Popasna, there's actually still fighting, despite the Russians have claimed that they have conquered. The Luhansk forces said that they actually taken the entire city, but there are still sporadic fightings within the city. They hasn't seemed to fully secure, or there might be Ukrainian forces actually sneaking in through the night or what. So the predicted advance to Bakhmut did not happen. I think they are waiting to secure this entire town first before they can make any other further move out of this town safely. Going to the north of Donetsk, or northeast of Avdiivka, the Donetsk forces make a full frontal move progress, and they actually captured 4 different village or town, namely Mikhailivka, Starky, Bemovnov, as well as Vasilivka. So fighting is now reported at a Verkhonotoretsk. They are now currently fighting here. So this is actually a defense line between Verkhonotoretsk and Novoselivka Druha. So this is going to take some time, because this is an entrenched line, but the city doesn't look the town doesn't look very heavy. It doesn't look very congested. So it's not going to be like a city fighting, like, let's say, for example, at Divka. This is going to be a totally different ball game. Likely scenario is that they will push out. Once they take this line, they will actually encircle. They will encircle from the north to clear out Avdiivka, because Avdiivka is actually a stronghold, a strong point, and it's actually a threat to Donetsk. This is where they can actually shell Donetsk. So this would be a priority target, I believe. And fighting is reported at Mariupol, so it's likely to be coming from Donetsk as well. Moving out of Donetsk, following this road. So the fighting is now here. And there is no more news regarding the fighting in this area. The supposed movement towards Korakhov didn't seem to register anywhere. I didn't really see it. However, the forces at Vuleda, the Ukrainian forces, is reportedly withdrawing. So there's not so sure, but this is what they say. They're actually withdrawing. This is actually a very dangerous position to be in, because they can be encircled very easily, and this is actually a very small town. Although these all are high rise, but this is a dangerous place to be. So to this reported withdrawal is likely to be true. But this is still a consistent defense line. So, but they have part of the road, so it is important for them to leave. If not, encirclement would be disastrous, I guess. Of course, anywhere they go, they will be encircled at this rate, as far as I can tell. So the initiative is definitely not on the Ukrainian side. No other news regarding the other fronts here. In terms of Zaporizhia, there is the Russian sources say that the Ukrainians have deployed up to 1,000 personnel into these 2 factory areas. So these are 2 incredibly huge factory region, similar to those that we saw in Mariupol, where similarly the Ukrainian forces have embedded themselves into the industrial area, making it a very hard fight for the Russian forces, and they are planning to do the same in Zaporizhia. So they are anticipating an attack from the Russians, but from what we see from the chatters, from the action on the ground, it doesn't seem like they are actually moving towards that direction. Going to Mariupol, journalists is spotted, or actually they are actually broadcasting from this area. On and then it's interesting that I saw one of the footage. There is a lot of civilians, a lot of cars, all trying to, all preparing to leave. A lot of civilian carrying a lot of things, so the evacuation is actually happening over here, and given that the Russian forces allow them to actually shoot here, to do the broadcast here, which means that there must be a safe distance from the front line. So I estimated that it could be around 3 kilometers. So, whoops. So around 3 kilometers, and I drew basically around a radius of 3 kilometers as a safe zone, and I marked it as basically taken by the Russian side. So, which also means that this is a major inroad by the Russian forces towards the center of Mariupol. There's also a drone footage of a tank getting attacked along the road, and they have been geolocated to be around here. So given how heavily it was kind of like attacked, it is also a sign that the region here is still full of Ukrainian forces. So it indicates that the actual defenses is still, the actual troop situation on the Ukrainian side is still very strong. The resistance is still very strong as well. So, and especially this is so built up, I assess that there's still a lot of civilians around here waiting to be evacuated. Currently, the evacuation is coming from here. I think on the majority side is going to be here. No idea on the other side. I know this side there's likely to be evacuation as well. So but at least this is considered a very good news for the Russian side, as they are finally making some kind of inroad enough for them to have journalists within the outskirts but inside the city of Mariupol to make some reporting. There's also this destruction, the blowing up of the drama theater in Mariupol, where allegedly up to 1,000 civilians is hiding in there, and it was blown up. So I have this very long ass thing. You can actually go to the website to actually take a look, the map. Basically in short is that the Ukrainians blame the Russian for bombing this, and they say that this is exactly how the Russians have no regards for civilians. Oops. And for the Russian side, they say that there is totally no air support mission in striking any targets within the city. So they say that this is a provocation. The Ukrainians basically blew up the building to blame it on the Russians, and it's up to you to believe who is speaking the truth. Someone must be correct. So I have no opinion on it, since it's not really important in my opinion. So on the humanitarian side, the Russian sources claim that 99% of the evacuees chose to evacuate to Russian controlled territory. They say that only 36 people left for the settlement controlled by Kiev in the Dnipro region, basically the evacuation to Zaporizhia. It's important to note that this 36 or whatever number is going to be like 50 or 100 or 200, these people that left for Dnipro region or Zaporizhia, they actually can only go there by their private car. So which is why the numbers, compared to the evacuation towards the Russian area, is actually much smaller, because the Russian actually send buses in to evacuate the evacuees. And there is also another aspect to this, is because if you are a family evacuating into Ukraine territory, the guys will be taken away from the family to serve in the military. The conscription now, the so-called mobilization is very real, and all men of able age, basically I think 16 or 18 all the way to 60 are expected to fight. So if you want your family intact, going towards the Russian area for evacuation makes more sense. If you go into the Ukrainian area, then firstly, you're going from one war zone and stay within that war zone actually. And you are not going to get any safer because the Russians are hitting targets all around Ukraine. And eventually the fighting is going to reach Zaporizhia eventually. So that is not exactly wise. You are still going to be in danger, and probably you're going to get encircled for a second time. So evacuation into the Russian territory actually makes a lot more sense, and you can avoid getting conscripted unless that's what you want to do, to actually fight for your motherland or fatherland. Then I think that's the right thing to do. But given the food and fuel shortages within Ukraine, I think the evacuees are going to have a better life in Russia for now. What else? Let me think. One more thing is that the 99% of evacuees chose to evacuate to Russian territory might have something to do with what they have seen for themselves in terms of the alleged human rights abuses by the Ukrainian forces by using civilians as human shields, and maybe the way they talk and behave, or they abused residential areas of people's home to use as firing points. All these small little things could also contribute to why a huge number of evacuees might prefer Russian territory for evacuation, because according to the video footages that I have seen by the Russian side, there is actually a lot of cars moving in towards the Russian direction, the Russian evacuation direction. So probably I think around this road that I saw. So while we saw a lot of cars actually moving towards the Ukrainian side, there is actually a lot of cars also moving towards the Russian side. So it's all propaganda on both sides anyway, so it's very hard to ascertain the exact truth. We can only take the words that they say on face value. So moving on to the other fronts, no news in terms of Mykolaiv region. Nothing on this detachment here, Voromstivka. Not sure what happened to my picture here. And no news regarding the fighting at Avdiivka, so Andriivka. Nothing on Mykolaiv, although there is a report that there is fighting north of Mykolaiv. I did not indicate this fighting at the north of Mykolaiv because north can mean a lot of things. North can mean here, can mean here, can mean here, can mean here, and can mean here. All these parts are north of Mykolaiv. So I did not indicate because this one-liner, I'm not sure it's from the Ukraine or Russian side, just don't make a lot of sense. So I did not indicate. The Russians captured the Cahova hydroelectric power plant. So this is actually this dam-like looking thing. So this is actually a hydroelectric power plant. The Russians basically move in, and the guards just let them in, and they give up, drop their weapons, and they go home. A lot like what happened in Crimea 8 years ago, where the green men took over all the military outposts and the governmental outposts, where all the guards and soldiers and just go home. They just left. So that's what happened there. I think the Russians want to secure and make sure that there's no sabotage in terms of electricity and power, since they are now going to properly run this Kherson area. So that's why maybe this is very important to them. In terms of yesterday's strike on the Kherson airport, this is some comments below at the video suggest that this is actually a old report from the 7th of March. I can confirm that it is not. It's a totally new strike. Both Ukrainian and the Russian sources are talking about it. The Russians say that they lost 3 helicopters. The Ukrainians say they destroyed 7 helicopters. So both numbers are too small to make any difference in this war. So it doesn't really matter it's 3 or 7. But this strike did happen. Another comment talked about asked what happened to the major counteroffensive by the Ukrainians. That bombardment is that major counteroffensive. There's actually no other information about that. Any other offensive, that is the one. So so that's that. That Russian fleet still doing some bombardment. So nothing of that. There's also some chatters about allegedly Ukraine have sunk one ship. I totally missed that news. And then today the Russians were like, the Russian sources is gloating about the ship actually going to port at Sevastopol, totally undamaged, looks very new and pretty. So I totally missed the entire news. Yeah, so anyway, it's good that I missed it because it's a fake news anyway. Another part is actually this. The Council of Europe, they just decided to acknowledge that the Russian, the Transnistria area is now Russian occupied territory within Moldova. So basically, they kind of like officially label this area as Russian occupied territory of Moldova. So let me see. So this is so-called the first official recognition that Transnistria is an occupied territory, and then under the effective control of the Russian Federation. So this is what they say, which is kind of dumb, if you ask me. By doing that, you're not really demonizing Russia, but you're actually giving Russia a reason to declare this place independent, or to create problem for Moldova. I think the Moldova government definitely do not appreciate this recognition of Transnistria as Russian occupied, because this is just trying to spew the violence and war into their country, which they are very eager to avoid doing. So I think this was really silly to do that, because the Russians have not tried to touch the forces here. And if they are being so itchy, I'm not sure if this will become like another active war zone of sort. So anyway, this is the summary for day 21. Hopefully it gives you some picture of what is happening. In terms of the strategic situation, my assessment is that all these things, all these forces in the north is just to trap any Ukrainian forces within the city. So they are all stuck inside. And similar to Kharkiv and Kiev, they are both the Russian forces that is surrounding the northern part of all these cities are just to keep Ukrainian forces trapped in these 2 major cities. This is the biggest and this is the second biggest city in Ukraine. And definitely, of course, if you are Ukraine, you want to protect this city, right? So you will put sufficient forces to defend the city, and those are sufficient. Those are good amount of forces that could have used to reinforce other regions. So this is my assessment that what Russia is doing. They are actually trapping all these forces away from the real front line, which is in the Donbas region. This is where the real fighting is. And most of the fighting, if you notice, is actually in Donetsk and Luhansk. Luhansk is mainly in the Severodonetsk region. And in the Donetsk front, you have coming from the Izium, from the north, and from the south, from the Donetsk, as well as from the Vonovaka area. So the fighting is actually mostly here. If you look at the rest of the map, there isn't really any real war going on. There are skirmishes. There are just some disturbance, but it's not really real front big battles that you are seeing in Donetsk or in Severodonetsk or in Mariupol. So by the action, we can tell that the real fight is around here. But I cannot deny the possibility of a major encirclement, although the major encirclement is still within Donetsk region if you look at it, because there is no real punch out from Mariupol here, which is required in order to hit Pavlograd to do this major encirclement. If the major encirclement is just west of Sloviansk and Kramatorsk, then this is still the same objective of liberating Donbass. So, but of course, in the process, they might actually surround a good number of Ukrainian forces. So, on other things about the just a foreign legion, I have done an exclusive video to put on Patreon. If you interested, you can become a patron. It's just $5 a month. You can actually watch exclusive videos, things that I cannot put on YouTube. You can actually watch it there. From what I observed regarding the foreign fighters, I think the whole foreign fighter, the foreign legion kind of thing is mostly collapsed, and is actually of no threat to the Russian forces, because they are literally not given much resources to actually fight. It's looking more and more to me like it's just a propaganda thing. So if you want to know more how I come to that conclusion, you can actually go to Patreon, go to Patreon, patreon.com/defensepoliticsasia, and become a patron, and then you'll be able to watch the video of me talking about it. The title of the video is actually, I actually call it Foreign Legion is a Scam. So so if you're interested, you can become a patron, become a DPA insider, and you can become part of a bigger conversation, as well as to grow this community with DPA, and then perhaps we can do more together and build the future of DPA together. So anyway, this is just a summary for day 21. I will leave it at this, and then I will see you in the next update.